Alright friends, we back with another video on JasonBlaha Strength and Fitness. The Lifting Gym Slave, I want to review this video he put out. It's called The Keys to Back Training and Building a Massive Back. Okay, let's review this video. It's going to be interesting.
Hey everybody, it's JasonBlaha here, and today I thought I would chat with you guys a little bit about back training. I get a lot of people who...
Wow, he's one to talk about back training. Look at his back, kyphosis. He suffers from kyphosis.
They see my back, realize my age.
Yes, they've seen your diseased back, kyphosis. And what about it? I built my back through kyphosis, yes.
That my back development's actually pretty dang good, and they'll ask me, what do I do for my back?
Yeah, you got a hunchback. Why would anybody want to look like that?
But then when a lot of people watch the things I do, they don't like it. They'll often say, well, I feel like...
His spinal cord and his ribs are protruding through his back. He has no back. It's kyphosis. It looks weird.
Your form is too loose on this or that, or I feel like you're not doing the correct range of motion. And they'll say these things, but by that same token, my back development tends to be, again, pretty dang good. And I think what people need to remember when...
Why does somebody have to keep complimenting themselves and telling people, my back looks really good and all that? Why would somebody in a video have to keep saying that? Obviously, the people would compliment you saying that you got a great back. You don't have to keep saying, I have a great back, because people are going to compliment you saying you have a great back. I don't have to say, hey man, I have great arms all the time. I don't have to say that. If my arms are good, then people will talk about them all the time, say you got fucking great arms, or you got this great look, or you look great, or you look good for your age or something. They're gonna compliment you in some way or another. Of course, the jealous people are going to try to put you down. But in the end of the day, when they're putting you down, they're actually complimenting you. They're trying to put you down, but at the same time, they're complimenting you, because them trying to put you down is just saying that you're better than them. You understand me? The fact JasonBlaha, people are talking about him, they're pointing out facts when they're showing JasonBlaha. You understand me? They're not making, I don't see any videos when they put him down about what he was talking about. But as far as his body goes, I don't know, man. His body's a melted candle, bro. I don't know. It just is what it is.
When it comes to back training, there are a lot of ideas, there's a lot of philosophies. But if you look at just the results most people get, you look at the data on it, and you realize that, number one, lengthened positions do tend to create the most potential for hypertrophy. I'm not saying they're everything.
Lengthened positions create the most hypertrophy? Hypertrophy means something's getting bigger. So if he's telling you that lengthened positions create hypertrophy, then how do they create it? Through inflammatory response, inflammation. Yeah, it's transient.
But the data's getting pretty solid.
Dive into 888 Poker.
Solid on that. They again, biggest chunk of your muscle growth probably comes from the more lengthened positions, at least the potential. And I'm not saying
your muscle growth comes from the lengthened position. Again, how does a lengthened position build a myofibrillar? How do weights build muscles? They don't have any nutrients. How many nutrients in a barbell? Zero. How the fuck could they build anything? What's he talking about?
Can't do it in other areas. Mechanical tension is also the biggest factor, but mechanical tension is created by workload.
I'm going to tell you right now, anything that you lift in a gym that you're doing physically is damaging your body, either through hypoxia, oxidative stress, inflammation, lactic acid, maybe some micro tears if you're even getting those. So everything equates to some sort of damage, tissue damage or something in your body. That doesn't grow muscles. That damages muscles. He's trying to tell you you're building it's building muscles. It's crazy.
Created by joint angles, things like that. So when you really start looking at, say, the way I usually train my back, one of the things you'll notice, even though sometimes my elbows and stuff, people are like, well, your elbows don't look locked. It's my joints. Look at what my scapula do. So watch any of my rows. Watch what my shoulders and scapula do. Even though my form is a little loose, you'll notice I stretch at the bottom. Okay? I actively make sure my scapula is spread apart on every back exercise I do, whether it's
The scapula stretches at the bottom. Okay, you're stretching your scapula apart. You're tearing it apart. And what about it?
A row like this, or whether it's the pull-up.
When you tear your scapula apart, this is abnormal. You're destroying the strength ability of your scapula on your back. It becomes weak.
So watch that. So notice that I focus upon using, relatively.
Look, do you want to tear your scapula apart, or do you want to build lats? Which one is it? People are going to tell you, well, what they go, well, look, I have lats now. They do a lat spread after they do all these pull-ups on this bar, fucking pulling their scapula apart, tearing it apart, weakening it now. And then they go, and then they do these lat spreads, and they go, look, I have lats. You never built any lats. What you did was you fucking destroyed the scapula area. You got it to pull out. Now it's in a weakened. It's weakened. What the fuck?
Weights for a large number of reps, but I always focus on stretching, right? So if you watch what all I do, I kind of hit a little bit of a stretch.
Focusing on stretching. It's just I don't get it. I don't know, man. He doesn't. He does powerlifting.
Reflex on the pull-ups there. Of course, as I start getting fatigued, I start pausing and going to a hang. Rows are kind of the same way. Sometimes I'll pause just a little bit, get a little stretch at the bottom, trying to complete a couple more reps. But the main thing you'll notice, I really always focus on trying to get a stretch in my back, whether I'm doing a stricter movement or whether I'm doing, something with a little more body English. I always do that. I don't ever really focus on negatives or eccentric reps, okay? And I'm not saying there isn't a place for those things. I personally have never found it to be valuable for back activation.
Negative or eccentric reps. He found it's never been good for back development. What? What's he talking about? Eccentric exercises is superior to concentric. What the fuck's he talking about? That's the major thing for back growth, to damage the muscle fibers. That's what damages them.
Whether it's for my traps, whether it's for my lats.
This has to be the stupidest coach in the world.
Any of that, I've just simply never found it to be beneficial. I've never found it to give a better.
He never found it to be beneficial. Eccentric exercise? What? The fuck? He's crazy.
Pump, I've never found it to make me feel the muscle more.
Pump. That's in the concentric.
I just haven't. And as far as squeezes go, I don't ever care about squeezes at the top because I deadlift, and I think that's another point I've raised to a lot of people. They'll try to say, and I've seen a lot of guys with really tiny backs who will still tell you, oh, the whole point is that squeeze and contraction, and they're talking about the shortened position. The data is not really that supportive of that. Number two, I've seen tons of guys obsess over that who still have no back development in the real world. And again, not saying there are not exceptions, I want to be clear. But I've seen a lot of trainers and lifters who do focus on that, tell you to focus on it, and then I'm like, hey, you really don't have much back. Okay? But here's the thing I would say, most of us are doing some deadlifting at least. If you think in terms of that because that really is an isometric contraction, assuming it contributes to muscle growth, again, some researchers would say the evidence for that is weak, but I would say no, but I wouldn't completely do.
Isometric means something standing still. What are you talking about? What movement? You can be standing still and moving with your legs up and down, something on top of you.
Discredited, it's still a shortened position, and probably.
Everything is isometric. If you're holding a weight, but one part is contracting, but the weight is still bearing on your body. So that's an isometric. And then there's the contraction, concentric, eccentric, concentric.
It has some muscle fibers, a few that are only involved with that. But when you think about the isometric part, the contracted, shortened position, doesn't the deadlift hit that harder than...
When he said mechanical tension? Mechanical tension in this video, he talks about mechanical tension. I'm sorry, I missed that part when he was talking about it. I wanted to bring it up. So mechanical tension, what is that? So if growing a specific muscle maximally is your goal for a particular exercise, listen to this. If growing a specific muscle maximally is your goal for a particular exercise, machines are often the better choice. Why are they the better choice? Because lower stability demands means more mechanical what? Tension. More mechanical tension on the targeted muscles. So what does mechanical tension mean? It just means lifting weights. You understand me? That's what it really means, lifting weights. But there's more mechanical tension when you're using cable machines. That's what they're trying to tell you. Targeting the muscles while involving fewer other muscles to minimize fatigue. One study highlights this well. Yeah, that's all they're really telling you there, machines. Mechanical tension means machines. Do cable machines have mechanical advantage? Mechanical advantage. Cables that move very quickly without creating too much slack in the system do so through a mechanical advantage. As the client begins a rep, the weight stack moves upward and the cable gets extended 2 feet, whatever, Yeah, mechanical tension. That's mechanical tension. There's more mechanical tension in cable machines, whatever. They could cause more muscle damage using a cable machine because, like it says here, lower stability demands means more mechanical tension on the targeted muscles. Yeah. So, yeah, I don't know what he's talking about. But whatever. Anyways, let's move on with this video.
The contracted shortened position, doesn't a deadlift hit that harder than you would ever do on a row or a cable row or a dumbbell row, right? Think in terms of, again, mechanical loading and how much tension is placed on those muscles because we have our scapula usually pulled back. So again, our traps and our lats are...
Yeah, I just talked about that, what he just said, the mechanical tension. What did it say there? Well, the cable machines are the best for that.
Are pulled into a bit of a shortened position under load, okay? But a deadlift, you're going to have way more tension there than you're ever going to have with a dumbbell.
You're going to have more tension with a barbell than a dumbbell? I don't know that. What are you talking about? Yeah, maybe one has more or less, whatever, but there's still mechanical tension there. Hello. Man, just something has more tension than the other, like the cable machine will have more because there's a stopping motion going up and going down. There's a stopping motion of you bringing the weight back up. If that is a stopping motion, it will be associated with more muscle damage on the eccentric movement going up, the lengthening stretch position, because you're trying to stop the weight from going up, so it'll cause you to go slower depending on how heavy you're going. The heavier you go on a cable machine, the slower on the up force you'll go because you're not going to release it and let it drop and smash, right? It's kind of obvious. So when you're running down a hill as a runner, your body's going to stop you from running too fast because the force and the velocity, you don't have enough power to overcome this, how should I put it, this velocity. You understand me? The velocity is so fast, but you just don't have enough power. So your body's going to stop you from falling on your face and breaking your teeth. Yeah. So those stopping motions will cause damage to the muscle fibers. The stopping motions, you running down the hill. But eventually, that's the adaptation process. The adaptation process will now damage the muscle fibers, and then they'll create them to be bigger and stronger. The second time you run down the hill, you most likely would be able to run down the hill without the stopping motion anymore and not falling on your face and breaking your teeth. That's why a lot of runners who run flat and fast, that's the same thing. Not running uphill, flat or running downhill, will cause this damage in the legs. And so, yeah, you can overcome that. So you won't fall and break your teeth. But eventually, at some point, you still don't have enough power on flat and fast. So when you want to increase more power and strength, you create more muscle damage. It makes you stronger. To overcome that, you can bypass that force velocity. You understand me? Through gaining more power in your legs. So how do you do that? Run down a hill. I don't know. Build up more myofibulars. Damage them. Get them to do things that they're unaccustomed to doing, and you'll build up more of these myofibulars. They'll get stronger and more resilient. So, like I said, the fastest man has never been discovered in the world yet because nobody has ever done that type of training. You understand me? I have done somewhat of that training when I was younger, but I never truly understood it at the time. As I got older, I started to understand it more and more and more. But my time has come. I'm an older person. I'm not going to be trying to beat records at my age of 56, okay?
Or or cable row, it's going to be multiple times more tension. I would kind of, again, and this might be a little bro sciencey of me, it could be pseudoscientific. I would argue that if you really care about that a great deal, I wouldn't worry about it much on your dynamic movements. Let your things like deadlifts and movements like that handle it. And it doesn't have to be a conventional deadlift. It could be a Romanian deadlift. Right? You could be doing RDLs for rep work. I think the same thing would apply there. I'm a bigger fan of conventional deadlifts. I've done RDLs and
I'm not a fan of deadlifts at all whatsoever.
for someone who really has a major hamstring weakness, a vertical and all.
A lot of lifters don't even care about fucking deadlifts. They care more about the OHP, which is the harder part. OHPs are hard. They care more about OHPs and the harder stuff, like OHPs, maybe bench press, and OHP. But the deadlift definitely, and the bench press are the most sophisticated ones that will make you the strongest, because there's a lot of eccentric in that. As opposed to OHP, people are throwing the weight up and then it's just dropping down. So there's too much concentric on the OHP. So yeah, it's not an exact thing. It's not as strict as bench press, and it's not as strict as how should I put it? As what do you call it? Not the squat. And so deadlift is the same as like OHP, throwing weights around in the air.
Horizontal pull. Now, I don't think pull-ups are necessary for everyone. A lot of people pull-ups and weight.
They can be hard, yeah.
Pull-ups might be beyond their strength level. In which case, and I was just saying earlier, it's all about mechanical tension on the muscles, and
it's all about mechanical tension on the muscles. If it's all about mechanical tension on the muscles, then you want to do the cable machines, right? Like it said there in Google. Yeah, if that's your goal, if you want to damage the most amount of muscle fibers, if you are damaging them and you're not adapted, and you want to focus on the majority, the most mechanical tension, well, it would be cable machines. That's the focus, yeah. Now, how you use them is dependent on you. Most people use them from the bottom up, but they never think about using from the top down. The only time they do top down is when they're standing up, like triceps or something. They never think about doing their biceps from the top down. They're always doing it from the bottom up because they're standing up. So they think, okay, this should be from this direction. But you could use unilateral directions. You can train from the bottom up and train from the top down as well. You can switch up to cause more damage. It's all dependent on how you visualize, how you see this. But again, people copy other people. They don't realize what else they could add to create more unaccustomed things they're doing to get more of this mechanical tension and damage in the muscle fibers to grow them bigger, better, stronger, and faster. I told you, it's like people can run flat and fast, but you can only cause so much muscle damage in the legs running flat and fast, and it will adapt by giving you more myofibrillar growth, and you'll be faster. You won't fall and break your teeth. Now, how do you get even faster? Run down a hill. You never thought about running down a hill. You just thought about running flat and fast. And then there's crazy people that run up hills thinking that running up a hill is going to do something. It does nothing but fatigue you. So there isn't any adaptations there other than fatiguing you. So as far as muscular adaptations, so like I said, the machine can be used from the bottom up, but it can be used from the top down to get more adaptations because you didn't think about doing that. Anyways, man, yeah.
Again, if we're going to be objective and we're going to be honest,
Yeah.
it is an absolute beast for that, particularly for lats. And doesn't say other stuff, doesn't mean other stuff doesn't work. I just like what it brings to the table. Plus, I in general like things like calisthenics and weighted body weight exercises. Again,
I think body weighted exercise, calisthenics are amazing. They're great for gymnasts. That's what gymnasts do.
lots of deadlifts count. But
Lots of deadlifts count? Man, this guy's so...
I do want to highlight the point that really
These are not practical. The deadlifting is not practical for any sport. It's no carryover. There is no carryover to any sport doing deadlifting. I'm telling you, there isn't.
take home is irrespective of what approach you're trying to use. The thing to think of it is generally if you're trying to...
Man, there's just... I don't know. Maybe with the bench press and the squat, but not the deadlift and the OHP for sure. There's no carryover to sports. It's basically the adaptation process is when muscles get damaged, they repair and remodel, they get resilient from becoming damaged the second time. That's all. From doing whatever it was you were doing there. And that's how you get stronger. I'll see you in the next one, muscularly strong. I'll see you in the next one. Touch, think about that, like, subscribe, support the channel. I'm out of here. This guy's full of shit. He's trying to convince you that a diseased back with kyphosis is building a back. It's not. And mechanical tension is based on cable machines. There's more mechanical tension. And the more you can figure out how to get this mechanical tension on the cable machines, the better off you are. I'll see you in the next one. And comment down below. Helps with the algorithm. Like, subscribe, man. Tell me what you think about that. I'll see you in the next one. Ciao, friends.